Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Creating a positive image for the institution is its own responsibility. President's directive to Customs. Namal indicted in High Court for misappropriating 70 million rupees. Namal says ready to face oppression. SJB and UNP continue discussions. Rice raids continue. Minister Nalinda says price controls will not be lifted. Air quality declines nationwide.
On to those stories in detail now. President Andrew Kumara Dissanayake expressed his views on the current congestion at the port during a ceremony held at Sri Lanka Customs.
Currently,
a large number of containers are stuck at the port, unable to be cleared. Annually, we handle around 7.8 million containers. We have set a target to increase this to 11.3 million by 2030. If the congestion continues to grow, we risk losing the prosperity we currently enjoy. The Customs Department has a significant role to play in this. I expect your active participation in this effort. One should not judge oneself by oneself alone. I can learn about myself from others as well. Similarly, the Customs Department should also learn from others. I am trying to address some ambiguities that exist within certain parties. If the image of the institution is somewhat tarnished, I won't say everyone is responsible, but certain actions by a few can create a negative impact. Therefore, it is not something we can resolve externally. It is not something that should be exposed to outsiders. I believe you will fulfill this responsibility.
ඒක බාහිර අපිට විසඳිය හැකි කරුණක් නෙවෙයි. ඒක පිටස්තරයන්ට බේරිය යුතු කරුණක් නෙවෙයි. මා හිතනවා ඔබ විසින්ම ඒ ඉටු කරાવી කියලා මා විශ්වාස කරනවා.
The President expressed these views during an event held yesterday at the Customs Department Auditorium to mark International Customs Day under the theme Customs Delivering on its commitment to efficiency, security and prosperity. Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, Customs Director General Sarat Nonis and other dignitaries attended the event.
හැම විටම යම් ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණයක් කරන්න ගියපුවාම දේශපාලන අධිකාරිය සහ රාජ්‍ය නිලධාරී යාන්ත්‍රණ අතර ගැටුමක් නිර්මාණය වෙනවා.
Whenever there is an attempt to implement reforms, a conflict arises between political authority and state officials. The officials think that the political authority is proposing these reforms with ulterior motives, such as undermining or abolishing certain functions. This creates difficulties in achieving positive structural or legal changes. I believe this resistance is widespread throughout the state apparatus. As a result, we have often failed to implement necessary legal reforms in a timely manner. Some actions, if not taken at the right time, do not yield the expected results. Structural changes needed at a particular time may not produce the desired outcomes if implemented later. Sometimes external parties may take advantage of our delays. Therefore, we often find ourselves lagging behind. I want to make it clear that every decision and step taken by me or our political authority is aimed at the country's future development and improving the lives of our people. Your support is essential for these decisions. If we do not take the necessary actions at this critical moment, we will not achieve our goals. Therefore, I believe in your support and dialogue. We are ready for your discussions and conversations, especially in the three main revenue generating sectors: the Inland Revenue Department, the Customs Department and the Excise Department. New structural changes are necessary. Some laws are enacted in response to the challenges of their time. Some structures are based on the experiences of that era. No structure or law is permanent. They must continuously adapt to new circumstances. If they do not, they become irrelevant to society and the nation. Therefore, as a political authority, we have a responsibility and commitment to implement the necessary changes at this moment.
අදාළ නොවන ව්‍යුහයෙන් බාටපත් වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි දේශපාලන අධිකාරියකට අපිට වගකීමක් තිබෙනවා, අපිට බැඳීමක් තිබෙනවා. මේ මොහොතේ කළ යුතු වෙනස්කම් ඇති කරන්න.
The Attorney General has filed indictments against Member of Parliament Namal Rajapaksa in connection with the infamous Krish deal. The indictments were presented before the Colombo High Court today, charging Rajapaksa with the criminal misappropriation of 70 million rupees.
The charges allege that Rajapaksa misappropriated 70 million rupees received from India's Krish group, which was intended for promotion of rugby in Sri Lanka. The Financial Crimes Investigation Division had previously reported the details of this case to the Fort Magistrates Court. Rajapaksa was initially arrested on the 11th July 2016 in connection with this case and was later released on bail.
MP Namal Rajapaksa states that as more people join him, the challenges increase.
දැන් මේ ඔබතුමාලට කොච්චර කරදර තිබුණත් මේ ලොකු සෙනගක් එක්ක අපි දකින්න සතියෙන් සතිය ඔබතුමාලා විවෘත කිරීම කරනවා කිරිබත් කනවා මේ කොහොමද මේ ගමන යන්නේ
සෙනග දකින්න කරදර වැඩි වෙනවා කෙටියෙන් මෙච්චරයි කියන්න තියෙන්නේ
ඉතින් මේ දන කරදර දාගන්නේ
අපි කරන්නේ දේශපාලනය අපිට එක් පෞද්ගලික න්‍යාය
We are in politics. We don't have personal agendas. However, some political parties believe that they can only succeed through oppression because they lack a plan to develop the country. We are clearly prepared for oppression. We face it head on. It's okay if they take revenge on us, but don't take it out on our supporters. The majority of the 6.9 million votes you received were from our supporters. The people established the JVP government with broken hopes. So we ask you not to shatter their expectations, even though we are in the opposition.
Today, the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna opened a local government office at the party headquarters.
මැතිවරණය සඳහා සියලුම පළාත් පාලන ආයතන ජයග්‍රහණය කිරීම සඳහා ඔබතුමන්ගේ නායකත්වය ලබා දෙන ලෙස ඉතාම ගෞරවයෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිමි.
Mahinda Kahadagamage, who recently supported Ranil Wickremesinghe, also visited the party headquarters today. Discussions continue between the Samaga Jana Balaveke and the United National Party regarding their collaboration.
So far, the discussions have been positive. We are trying to bring the UNP into our alliance. We have had about 2 rounds of talks and there are a few more discussions scheduled. I believe we will reach a final decision through these discussions. We are approaching this with the intention of making it work. We believe the UNP is also optimistic about this collaboration and we can see that they are supportive.
During a cabinet press briefing today, Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, the cabinet spokesperson, commented on the situation surrounding former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's official residence along Vijayarama Mawatha.
We
have stated in Parliament and outside that this house should be handed back to the government. There is no special law for Chandrika Kumaratunga, Maithripala Sirisena or Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Supreme Court has also given a decision regarding Maithripala Sirisena's house, defining what constitutes a suitable residence. Considering all these factors, they should make a decision. If necessary, I can present further details on how this house was renovated during their time in power. This is not a house that appeared out of nowhere for a retired president. It was built and renovated using government funds during their tenure as Prime Minister and President. From 2021 to 2023, 472.52 million rupees was spent on renovations. This includes 140 million for building materials, 30.5 million for ceiling work, 32.7 million for steel fabrication and installation, 38.9 million for electrical installations, 36.3 million for timber, 35.17 million for timber flooring, 15.8 million for granite and 46.9 million for air conditioning systems. This is a burden on the government. Therefore, we have clearly stated that this house should be handed back to the government. I believe former President Mahinda Rajapaksa will act accordingly.
The spokesperson for the former president stated that a written notice is required for vacating the official residence.
Why all this fuss? If the house is required, send it via notice. It is legally necessary and will comply. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa respects the law of this country. However, he will not bow to intimidation.
The cabinet spokesperson responded to this.
It seems like they are saying they will leave if they receive a letter while living in a government house and benefiting from it. I believe that ethically they are not ordinary citizens. Former President Rajapaksa was the head of state, the head of the executive and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. If they need a letter to leave, it does not suit their position. If 3 others can leave, there is no reason they cannot. If they are clinging to this like demons, there are ways to expel demons. Maintaining decorum is the best approach.
While the discussions about an official residence is ongoing, what has happened to the village?
What happened to the village?
Over the years, various projects have been introduced to develop villages and boost their economies. People know what ultimately happens to many of these projects, which were often initiated for political purposes and image building. This large warehouse is located in Paragammana, Kegol. In the 1960s, it was the largest flour warehouse in the region, operated by the food department. Now it stands abandoned and overgrown.
මේ පැත්තේ කීපුංගක් අය රස්සාවල් කරා මෙතන. පිටිතර නෙමෙයි හාල් එක මේවත් ගෙනාව ත්‍රිකෝණ මලින්ද පිටි ලොරි ඉස්සර රැට ඇවිල්ලා පිටි බාලා යනවා. මේක එක එක්කෙනා බදු දීලා තිබුණා. මේක බිල්ඩින් 3ක් තියෙනවා. නඩත්තු කටයුතු කරුවොත් තව සෑහෙන කාලයක් පාවිච්චි කරන්නත් පුළුවන්.
2009 විතර වෙනකොට මේක පෞද්ගලික ආයතනයකට බදු දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒකත් 2014 විතර වෙනකොට නැවතිලා තියෙනවා. ඖෂධ සම්බන්ධ ආයතනයකටත් පස්සේ කාලෙක මොකක් හරි ඇග්‍රීමන්ට් එකක් ගහලා තියෙනවා. නමුත් ඒකත් කොහොම හරි නැවතිලා තියෙනවා.
If we think differently, these could be excellent projects. If revived, at least 1 or 2 people could get jobs. What will happen now that another local government election is coming?
What happened to the village?
Newsfirst with the people. Newsfirst, main sponsor.
International Edu Expo with EdLocate on the 1st and 2nd February. Call us to register.
International Edu Expo organized by EdLocate on 1st February 2025 at the Taj Samudra and on the 2nd of February at the Kandy City Centre Banquet Hall. Call our hotline to register for the event. International Edu Expo organized by EdLocate on 1st February 2025 at the Taj Samudra and on the 2nd of February at the Kandy City Centre Banquet Hall. Call our hotline to register for the event.
Recently, many areas are experiencing foggy and overcast weather conditions. What is causing this situation? The National Building Research Organization said today that air quality across the country has deteriorated.
When the air quality index value or the AQI value is between 0 and 50, it indicates good air quality. However, today's AQI values in several regions are as follows. Nallur 80, Colombo District 36, Badulla 52, Dambulla 74, Jaffna 51, Kurunegala 63, Putlam 41, Batiklo 72. The activation of the southwest monsoon winds has impacted the atmospheric pollution levels in the country. The NBRO stated that this condition might persist until tomorrow evening.
Like many South Asian countries, Sri Lanka is experiencing elevated levels of air pollution. The current wind patterns have brought some pollution towards Sri Lanka, resulting in higher air pollution levels today. This increase is not limited to the north, such as Jaffna, but is seen across the entire country. This situation can cause discomfort, especially for individuals with respiratory issues or sensitivities. If anyone experiences breathing difficulties, they should seek medical attention. Additionally, reducing activities that release smoke, such as burning waste, can help manage this situation. There is no need for panic. We expect this condition to improve by tomorrow evening.
The
NBRO also advises the public to seek immediate medical attention if they experience any respiratory difficulties.
In more local news, the Consumer Affairs Authority has taken steps to conduct operations during weekends and night time to find traders selling rice at higher prices. Accordingly, raids were conducted last night at several locations, including the Narahenpita Economic Centre and Talahena.
Using undercover officers, the operations targeted wholesale rice shops to identify traders selling rice at inflated prices. Shop owners claimed that there was no red rice available at the economic centre. In Bataramula Talahena, an undercover agent inspected a shop and found that the owner had white rice in stock but was not selling it. The shop owner was taken into custody.
Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Nalin Vijaythisa said that the government is not prepared to remove the price controls on rice.
No matter how many proposals are made, the government is not ready to remove the price controls on rice. There is an issue with red rice. To resolve this, we need to wait until the current harvest is completed. We expect this issue to be fully resolved within 2 weeks. We anticipate a harvest of 700,000 metric tons of red rice this season. We are providing a systematic solution to this problem. On the other hand, if anyone tries to exploit this situation for unfair profit, we will conduct raids through the Consumer Affairs Authority. We cannot allow the prices of all other rice varieties to increase based on the red rice issue. We are controlling the prices of goods to provide relief to the people. Some problems are not of our making. The coconut issue is similar.
Have you noticed how everyone is talking about the price of coconuts, the shortage and the size of coconuts these days? Did you know that a coconut husk costs 15 rupees? This story delves into the lives of those affected by these issues.
දැන් මේ දවස්වල මේක මේ පොල්ලෙලි මිලත් එක්ක කරන්න අමාරුයි ලෙලි ගියක් කියලා හිටන් ඉතින් මුදලාල්ලා ලෙලි හිතු ගණන් කියනවා ලෙලි ගේන කට්ටියක් ගේන්න අකමැති ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් වියදම් වැඩි කියලා ඩීසල් වියදම් වැඩි කියලා ඉතින් ගොඩවල් වලින් ලෙල්ලක් රුපියල් 14ක් 15ක් කියනවා එතකොට අපිට මෙතෙන්ද ගෙනල්ලා බලනකොට අපි කපන එකේ තේරුමක් නැහැ.
In the villages of Panduwasnuwara, Madawala and Dematagulla, many people rely on the coil industry for their livelihood. Kurunagala is one corner of the coconut triangle. People in the villages of Kurunagala used to live self-sufficiently. However, today they are struggling to sustain this industry due to the rising prices of raw materials.
අපියගේ අහිංසක මේ කියන්නේ පොල්ලෙලි කපන මේ වයම් පළාතේ දාස් ගාන මිනිස්සු ඉන්නවා. මේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ වෙනුවෙන් රුපියල් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් 9-10න් වගේ සාධාරණ මිලකට පොල්ලෙල්ලක් ලබා දෙන්න කියලා.
The cost of raw materials, transportation expenses, payments to laborers and electricity bills. After adding all these up, there is no profit left from the products they manufacture, as explained in detail to the Gammadda door-to-door team that visited the horns today.
Gammatha, door-to-door.
International Edu Expo, organized by Edlocate on 1st February 2025 at the Taj Samudra and on the 2nd of February at the Kandy City Centre Banquet Hall. Call our hotline to register for the event.
A Gazette notification has been issued, signed by President Anura Kumara Dissanayake, allowing the imports of buses, lorries, double cabs, single cabs and vans. According to this Gazette, vehicles imported must be registered with the Department of Motor Traffic in the buyer's name within 90 days if it is to be sold.
Another Gazette notification related to vehicle imports was issued last evening, signed by President Anura Kumara Dissanayake in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. The Director General of Customs is authorized to release vehicles imported under letters of credit issued between the 18th of December 2024 and the 27th of January 2025. Vehicle imports are permitted until the 31st of July 2025. The Gazette states that for vehicle registration, the importer or buyer must present relevant documents, including the taxpayer identification number. Individuals other than registered vehicle importers can import only one vehicle per year. If a vehicle importer exceeds the approved import quantity by 25% within 6 months up to December 2025, they will face a minimum 3-year ban on vehicle imports. Vehicles imported in violation of these regulations must be re-exported at the importer's expense within 90 days.
අපේ අතන තම ඩියුටි ස්ට්‍රක්චර්ස් ටික අවුට් කරලා නැහැ. ඒත් අපේ තියෙන අයිඩියා එක අනුව යම් යම් මිල ප්‍රමාණයක් එහෙට මෙහෙට වීම අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා. සමහර වාහනවල මිල ගණන් ඉහළ යෑමකුත් සමහර වාහනවල මිල ගණන් පහළ යෑමකුත් ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
බස් වාහන ගේන්න පුළුවන් අවුරුදු 5යි, ලොරි ගේන්න පුළුවන් අවුරුදු 5ක් කාලේ සීමාවක්, වෑන් රථ අවුරුදු 4කුත්, ඩබල් කැබ් ඒ වගේ රථ අවුරුදු 4ක් පමණ ආනෙන් ගෙන්නන්න තමයි කාලේ තීරණය කරලා දැන්ට තියෙන්නේ.
During today's cabinet press briefing, details about vehicle imports were clarified.
You know that vehicle prices will increase to some extent. As I mentioned earlier, we are being cautious about the amount of dollars spent. We are balancing this with our dollar reserves and state revenue. The government intends to manage this under strict supervision. We have announced 3 categories and vehicle importers are aware of this. Opening all categories at once would impact the economy. We are not currently discussing additional categories. We will consider opening more categories based on the impact on our reserves and the number of vehicles entering the country.
US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung notes that the new Sri Lankan government's focus on transparency, good governance and creating a welcoming business environment is commendable. At the same time, speaking at the 42nd annual general meeting of the Sri Lanka Apparel Exporters, Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya praised the significant contributions of Sri Lanka's apparel industry and its predominantly female workforce.
The 42nd annual general meeting of the Sri Lanka Apparel Exporters took place in Colombo. Notable attendees at the event were Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya and US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung.
Last week, President Trump took office and outlined a clear set of priorities to make America safer, stronger, and more prosperous. And I want to really underscore that the United States is also open for business, and we look forward to welcoming even more business and investments in the coming years. U.S. apparel manufacturing is vibrant and diverse and has shown remarkable strength and continuous growth in the last several years. The U.S. market is not only one of the largest and most lucrative in the world, but it also provides unparalleled access to advanced technology, skilled labor, and a robust infrastructure that can significantly enhance your own production capabilities. So by establishing operations in the United States, you can benefit from reduced shipping times, lower tariffs, and the ability to respond swiftly to market demands. So that's my plug for the U.S. market as well. Now, investing in the United States is not just a strategic business move. I believe it is a step towards building a more resilient and competitive future for your companies in the global marketplace. As the new Sri Lankan government establishes its trade and investment priorities and plans, and I've had many discussions with Minister Handunedi about this as well, we are encouraged by the focus on transparency, good governance, and reinforcing the importance of a welcoming business environment and a clean, transparent procurement process, a level playing field for all investors, and the honoring of contracts will be watched keenly by foreign investors. The ability of the private sector to drive growth, unhindered by red tape and excessive regulation, is crucial for fostering economic progress and will be a key factor in the months and years ahead. So as a global apparel industry evolves, Sri Lanka's position as a leader in quality manufacturing and ethical practices can set a really positive example. The United States remains a friend and partner in Sri Lanka's journey.
Prime Minister Amarasuri underscored the importance of recognizing and valuing the unpaid contributions of women in the apparel sector, who also shoulder significant care responsibilities at home.
Your work has been instrumental in shaping Sri Lanka's economic landscape. At the same time, we must celebrate the tireless efforts of the 350,000 strong workforce, predominantly women, who form the backbone of this industry. This workforce, especially the women, are not just workers. They are change makers, supporting families, communities, and the broader economy with resilience and dedication. Beyond their demanding roles in the industry, the women, especially among this workforce, also shoulder significant unpaid work and care responsibilities at home. It is imperative that we recognize and value their unpaid contributions. Additionally, improving working conditions is paramount. Ensuring clean and accessible washrooms, support for menstrual health, childcare, and workplaces free from sexual harassment are essential steps towards creating a dignified and supportive environment for women. These measures not only enhance productivity, but also contribute to overall well-being and empowerment of women in the workforce. It is important that all players, big and small, and across the value chain, also maintain the same standards in ensuring inclusive, ethical, and sustainable practices within this industry. The apparel industry is a cornerstone to Sri Lanka's economy. Looking ahead, the industry's vision to achieve $8 billion in export revenue by 2025 is ambitious but attainable. By fostering innovation, investing in sustainability, and empowering our people, we can transform challenges into opportunities. What is particularly noteworthy about the apparel industry is not just the economic transformation, but the transformation from within. Not just innovation in the manufacturing process, but also in ethical and sustainable business practices. You have the skills, you have the capacity, you know what needs to be done for your sector. We provide the infrastructure, the social and the financial infrastructure, and the environment to enable you to do what you're doing, what you do, and to do that even better than you're doing right now.
Minister Sunil Handunathi reaffirmed the government's commitment to supporting Sri Lanka's apparel industry.
Garments without guilt is a slogan. It's a meaning of that. Our garment sector is very quality and honestly, not a cheap labor. That consists of not only quality of materials, but also it represents the quality of our workforce. Therefore, we have a great respect to this industry. And we are in deep concern of developing this industry further. I truly believe that we can make a revolution from this industry with your support. As an industry, apparel industry, to faces numerous challenges locally and globally. Labor issues, intense price pressure in the imported raw materials, high competition in the global market are a few of them. As a government, we are bound to facilitate you with different aspects such as providing technical support, advisory support, and regulatory support. Importation of raw materials is inevitable, and we are also part in the global supply chain. Therefore, we should look forward for win-win situation at this moment. It boosts this industry. You know, we are facing so many troubles, as discussed here, bad problem and raw material problem. All we know well in our industry ministry advisory committee, also in apparel sector advisory committee, we have discussed so many things regarding this sector. Ladies and gentlemen, it is challenging, seems to be difficult, but never give up. We collectively go through these circumstances and wait for this rise in future. As a part of the government, I hereby declare that we would take all necessary steps to develop your industry.
Sri Lanka has called for enhanced cooperation against human trafficking and cyber scams during a meeting with representatives of the Bali Process.
Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Sri Lanka in Bangkok, EAS Wijayanthedri Singha, held discussions with David Scott, co-manager Australia Regional Support Office of Bali Process, and senior officials of the Bali Process on people smuggling, trafficking in persons and related transnational crime. The talks focused on enhancing cooperation to address issues of irregular migration, people smuggling, human trafficking, and the ongoing cyber scam crisis in the Southeast Asia region. Ambassador Edri Singha emphasized the urgency of strengthening regional engagement and joint efforts to effectively combat these challenges. She highlighted the growing threat posed by cyber scam centers and cross-border criminal networks, calling for a unified and coordinated response from Bali Process members. David Scott provided an overview of ongoing operations and activities in the region, noting the close collaboration between the Bali Process and Sri Lanka on key initiatives. Sri Lanka reaffirmed its dedication to working alongside the Bali Process and its members to develop comprehensive strategies and innovative solutions to counter irregular migration, people smuggling, and human trafficking, while fostering a safer and more secure region for all.
India has lodged strong protest with the acting Sri Lankan High Commissioner to India over a confrontation between Indian fishermen and the Sri Lankan Navy.
Indo-Lanka fishing controversy. Sri Lanka's acting High Commissioner in New Delhi was called into the Indian Ministry of External Affairs to lodge a strong protest with Sri Lanka following an incident involving the Sri Lankan Navy allegedly firing on 13 Indian fishermen near Delft Island. A statement from the High Commission of India in Sri Lanka said that Indian consulate officials in Jaffna have visited the injured fishermen to check on their well-being and are providing all possible assistance to the fishermen and their families. The Indian High Commission in Colombo has also raised the matter with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Sri Lankan government. The government of India has emphasized the need to treat issues relating to fishermen in a humane and humanitarian manner, keeping in mind their livelihood concerns. Sri Lanka Navy said that the Northern Naval Command seized an Indian fishing boat and apprehended 13 Indian fishermen for poaching in Sri Lankan waters off Valvediture, Jaffna. The operation was launched around 2200 hours after the Northern Naval Command observed a cluster of Indian fishing boats in the area. One Indian fishing boat, which continued to remain in Sri Lankan waters and engage in illegal fishing activities, was seized. The Sri Lanka Navy boarding team had to conduct a non-compliance boarding as the Indian fishing boat maneuvered aggressively and did not comply with lawful orders. The Indian fishermen acted confrontationally, attempting to assault Navy personnel and snatch a firearm from a naval officer, endangering the lives of the naval team. In the process, an accidental fire had occurred, causing slight injuries to the two Indian fishermen. The Navy provided initial first aid and transferred the injured fishermen to the Jaffna Teaching Hospital, where their condition is reported to be stable.
This is a long-standing issue. We have discussed this matter at a diplomatic level on several occasions. During the past 2 months, the Sri Lanka Navy has increased the number of raids and arrests being made. There are several boats that are still here and they have to be taken back by India. We are intervening in this matter to the best of our ability to resolve the issue, since it is causing a lot of harm to the fishermen in Jaffna. However, this is not only an issue that is at the diplomatic level. No matter how much this issue is discussed at the diplomatic level, I don't believe that this issue can be totally resolved. But we will always intervene in these issues to protect our marine resources and our fishermen. The discussions on these matters will continue.
Member of the UK Parliament and Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office Minister for the Indo Pacific, Catherine West, is on an official visit to Sri Lanka.
Catherine West, member of the UK Parliament and Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office Minister for the Indo Pacific, paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, at the Prime Minister's office yesterday. During the meeting, Catherine West and Dr. Amarasuriya engaged in discussions on key government priorities, including poverty eradication, regional development and economic equity. The UK's Indo Pacific Minister Catherine West met with representatives of Tamil national parties. Minister Catherine West met with S. Sridharan, Member of Parliament from the Ilangai Tamil Arasu Katchi, and Gajendra Kumar Ponnambalam, leader of the Tamil National People's Front.
They inquired about accountability and the current stance on a permanent solution for the Tamil people. We clearly explained how a permanent political solution and accountability should be established for the Tamil people. We informed them that this solution should be a federal-based system. Countries like the United Kingdom must, in the international arena, stress and push for accountability. If there is progress on that front internationally, we can apply some pressure on the groups that are against the Tamil people. We informed her that it is only if we can achieve this accountability that we can hope for some sort of change. We also spoke with her about the OMP and the Office for Reparations.
Office for Reparations
Sri Lankan mountaineer Johan Piris has achieved a remarkable milestone, becoming the first Sri Lankan to summit Mount Vinson, the highest peak in Antarctica.
Sri Lankan mountaineer Johan Piris is on a mission to conquer the tallest mountain on each of the 7 continents. In 2018, he became the second Sri Lankan to reach the summit of Mount Everest. To date, he has successfully scaled 4 of the world's highest peaks: Mount Kosciuszko in Australia, Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, Mount Elbrus in Europe, and Mount Everest in Asia.
So for the first time, on top of insect, first time in history, now proud is a proud moment for Sri Lankans to have their flag flying in the highest point of Mount Vinson, the highest point of Antarctica.
The administration of United States President Donald Trump has fired more than a dozen prosecutors linked to the investigation and prosecution of the Republican leader while he was out of office. Monday's terminations were effective immediately and applied to employees in the Department of Justice, according to anonymous sources within Trump's government.
Thank you very much, everybody.
An official told Reuters news agency that Acting Attorney General James McHenry and Trump appointee had determined that the prosecutors could not be trusted to faithfully implement the president's agenda because of their significant role in prosecuting the president. The move underscored Trump's threats to seek retribution against those who scrutinized his behavior, and it marked a break with long-standing norms that career government employees should not be punished for carrying out tasks under preceding administration. Trump took office on the 20th January for a second term as president after serving previously from 2017 to 2021. Those affected by Monday's firings included prosecutors who had worked with former special counsel Jack Smith, who led 2 probes into Trump before stepping down. One focused on Trump's retention of hundreds of classified documents at his private residence despite a subpoena in 2022 for their return. The other zeroed in on his behavior before, during and after the 2020 presidential election, which he lost to Democrat Joe Biden. Trump was accused of seeking to subvert the election results, which he falsely claimed were marred by widespread voter fraud. Both investigations resulted in federal criminal indictments, the first in Florida and the second in Washington, D.C. Trump was the first U.S. president, past or present, to face criminal charges. In addition to the federal cases, he was also charged in 2 state-level indictments.
Chinese startup DeepSeek's launch of its latest AI models, which it says are on par or better than industry-leading models in the United States at a fraction of the cost, is threatening to upset the technology world order. The company has attracted attention in the global AI circles after writing in a paper last month that the training of DeepSeek V3 required less than $6 million worth of computing power from NVIDIA H800 chips.
DeepSeek, a little-known Chinese startup, has sent shockwaves through the global tech sector with the release of an artificial intelligence model whose capabilities rival the creations of Google and OpenAI. DeepSeek, R1 creator says its model was developed using less advanced and fewer computer chips than those employed by tech giants in the United States. In a research paper released last week, the model's development team said they had spent less than $6 million on computing power to train the model, a fraction of the multi-billion-dollar AI budgets enjoyed by US tech giants such as OpenAI, Alphabet and Meta. Mark Andreessen, one of the most influential tech venture capitalists in Silicon Valley, hailed the release of the model as AI's Sputnik moment. The sudden emergence of a small Chinese startup capable of rivaling Silicon Valley's top players has challenged assumptions about US dominance in AI and raised fears that the sky-high market valuations of companies such as Nvidia, Alphabet and Meta may be detached from reality. Simply put, the company's success has raised existential questions about the approach to AI being taken by both Silicon Valley and the US government. US tech firms have been widely assumed to have a critical edge in AI, not least because of their enormous size, which allows them to draw top talent from around the world and invest massive sums in building data centers and purchasing large quantities of costly high-end chips. US President Donald Trump said the low-cost Chinese AI model DeepSeek was a wake-up call for US firms after its emergence caused a rout in tech shares. But Trump said the shock could also be positive for Silicon Valley by forcing it to innovate more cheaply.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight. We leave you tonight with our special segment, Happy Headline.
Thank you for watching. Good night.
Happy Headlines.
Meet Charlie. We met him at the Hantana International Bird Park.
මේගොල්ලෝ තමයි ගොඩක් පැහැදිලිවම කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් කොකටුවක්.
Charlie is a beloved member of the park, adored by the caretakers, the owner, and all the visitors.
Happy Headlines.